it's MK and I am back with another Christy's Beautiful Life 30 Days of Sketches. Here's the sketch that I'm going to attempt to follow. I always say that because I always seem to have to change up the photos, and because of the photos, I always seem to have to change up the sketch just a hair. So this one here, I only have three horizontal photos. I've got a few things like these trees from Stampin' Up!, this packet from 49 and Market. I absolutely love all of the neutrals in here, and it is just from the essentials, the vintage artsy essentials. So there's a vintage line, and I think there's another line that I don't pay attention to. And then this one here was kind of like, I was having a hard time trying to find the name for this thicker set, but it's called Sentiments, I think, because the branding is different than what I'm used to. But here is my title, and then I took a whole bunch of those little dots or periods or whatever you want to call them, and I'm going to use those as my enamel dots for this because there was a ton on this sticker sheet. All right, then I also have this Let's Camp from the Great Outdoors. I believe it's a Cartabella paper. I absolutely love that plaid print, you guys. The gold in there is so rich. It almost looks like it is like a foil. Have a Close to My Heart cardstock that is double-sided. I like to show you guys that it is double-sided, so you get a 2-for-1 deal on Close to My Heart cardstock. And then this piece of paper printed paper from 49 and Market, Take a Hike. I plan on using the more grungy side rather than this beautiful printed side, but I do have some left over because I believe I'm only making... Oh, yes, I'm only going to use it for my layout where this Heidi Swap Carefree piece will be my base page. And it's just a ledger paper, but each square or each different subject is a different color. So I kind of thought that was pretty cool. And then, of course, it's rainbow on the back, but I am going to use it for its ledger paper. And then just for a little bit more embellishments, because I didn't think I had enough, I pulled out this Simple Stories Vintage Great Escape sticker sheet. Yes, spit out those words. All right, so instead of having 6 photos, I'm going to only have 3, and they're horizontal, so they're going to take up the space as if I had 6 photos. So basically, I need to really stop repeating words. Seriously. So in a way, what I have is the exact same thing as what's in the sketch. However, instead of having 6 photos, I'm only going to have the 3. And I just said this, they're going to take up the spaces where those where those extra photos were supposed to be. Then I'm just trying to decide how tall, whether or not the piece is going to fit inside the ledger paper. I'm trying to, keep a grid on this, and follow the lines of the ledger paper. But then again, I'm thinking, but is it going to be too small? Is it going to be worth this, am I going to be able to see it type of deal? And then I realized that I cut my plaid just a little bit too wide. I should have shrunk it down a little bit. So I'm going to figure that out here in a minute because as you can see, you can hardly see anything that is the, was the grunged up 49 and Market paper. You can hardly see it. And so I'm thinking, I kind of wanted it to be a little bit less. And then I picked out this frame from the 49 and Market little die cut pack, and it was just way too big, and I didn't feel like shrinking it down or tearing it apart or anything like that. So what I did was I went and I trimmed my paper down, my plaid paper down, which I absolutely love even more now that I see it at a smaller scale, or I should say a skinnier scale. I absolutely love it, you guys. And I can see more of that 49 and Market paper rather than just it looked like a dirty paper, pretty much, like a used napkin. I'm sorry, you guys. That was awful. I should not have said that. All right, so these photos, I'm pretty sure I have talked about this mill before. This is the gorgeous mill that is still standing at the, what's it called? At Bodie. I'm almost done, by the way. Actually, no, I'm not. I have lots and lots of the houses to still scrapbook about because I pretty much took a picture of every little thing that we came across. Honestly, if you guys don't remember, I took a picture of a fire hydrant. And I scrapbooked it. It got its own layout. But this mill it actually had 3 different names. So it started off as, give me a minute, as the Bunker Hill Mill. And then it was changed to the Bullion Mill. And then it changed hands again. And finally, what originally, like stayed at and was there for like 38 years or something like that, was the Standard Mill. And so, of course, the Standard was the name of the mine site. The mill is what mine site it works for. So if you look at it, it's the Bunker Hill mine, the Bullion mine, and now the Standard mine. But this is the mill building. And so when you rename a mine, it becomes, the Standard Mill, right? It just changes names with the mine site. But I do have to tell you guys that this mine is a true workhorse. It's actually called a stamp mine, or a stamp mill. I apologize. I've got mine on the brain. It's actually called a stamp mill because of the way that they got the gold out of the rocks that they mined out of the out of the mountains, or actually, I believe some of these were underground mines, and that's how they got to the really good stuff. But anyways, this is called a stamp mill because of how they got their mine, or their ore out of the rocks. And what it is it's basically these huge cylinders, and they're dropped down by pulleys and things like that, and the rocks are underneath the cylinders, and then they crush them and they stamp them out, and breaking the rocks. And what it is that the difference between how the rocks, I want to say the density of the rocks to the density of the gold is 2 different. The gold is much softer, and so it falls off the rocks. And then, of course, later they realized the power of cyanide, which is what most mines use nowadays, to leach the gold off of the rocks. And it's a lot less abrasive. But back then they didn't know that until, the 1900s is when cyanide was, started to be used frequently without, understanding its properties and how dangerous it is to the people around it. Heaven forbid. But yes, this mill actually was first erected back in 1875, but the original portion of it actually collapsed, because we're not, builders. Anyways, they actually, it actually collapsed, and it wasn't rebuilt until 1877, and that is when it became the Standard Mill, or the Standard Mine. So that way it's, so how it really works is that this mine comes up with this and starts on it, but then it faces a travesty. And what that travesty happens is whether or not they can afford to fix it. And if it can't, another mine shows up. If they can't afford to fix it, another mine shows up. And that is how it changes hands, is because this mine has the money to get it to do what it needs to do and back into working order. So this mill basically started at the Standard in 1877 and ran, like I said, 38 years. It produced over $18 million in gold, which was amazing. It burned down in 99, or I should say in 98, and again was rebuilt in 1899, and just became its workhorse. It was just amazing how this mill lasted for so long. But now that I've talked through the entire ordeal of me putting the layout together, I just love talking about this stuff, you guys, and I'm so glad that a lot of you guys hang around for that. Honestly, I really do. This stuff intrigues me. I love talking about it. I love talking to anybody else that wants to talk about it. And I learn things from having other conversations too, because sometimes I miss some of the small details, and sometimes I miss some of the minute details. But anyways, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Be sure to check out everyone else that is playing along with Christy's Beautiful Life, 30 Days of Sketches, as well as the Facebook group. There are some people that are playing along with us every day. The layouts are all posted in there. So if you want to work ahead, if you want to just pick out which layouts meet your fancy, or not layouts, I apologize, sketches. Yeah, it's all fun and games, you guys. It's a blast. And the way that I see it is that within a month, I get 30 layouts done. Or so. Sometimes I miss a day or two. But yeah, 30 layouts for 1 month is phenomenal for me. I know it might not seem like it is, but it truly is. So yeah, I definitely do love having these 30 days of sketches. And oh my gosh, the sketches this year, or this month, I should say, are just phenomenal. I am so stoked with all of them and can't wait to play with all of them. All right. Thank you so much again, and I will check y'all later. Bye.